At the southern edge of South America lies Cape Horn, one of the most remote and challenging environments on Earth.
Here, the Southern Ocean collides with land, creating conditions that shape every form of life. Cape Horn stands exposed to some of the strongest winds and roughest seas on the planet.
The sea is in constant motion, driven by powerful weather systems moving across the Southern Ocean.
For animals living here, survival begins with enduring the environment itself. Every cliff, every shoreline, and every wave reflects the raw power of Cape Horn. Yet despite the harshness of this sea, life has found ways to thrive. The first inhabitants of Cape Horn begin to appear above the sea. For these birds, the winds of Cape Horn are not an obstacle, but an opportunity. Ahead of us flies one of the true masters of survival at the edge of the world. The albatross has mastered one of the greatest challenges of Cape Horn: the wind.
Using the powerful winds of the Southern Ocean, the albatross can travel enormous distances while conserving energy.
The same weather that challenges most animals provides an advantage to this remarkable seabird.
Life at Cape Horn often depends on adapting to the forces of nature, rather than resisting them. The winds and currents of the Southern Ocean shape every ecosystem surrounding Cape Horn. Even brief moments of calm can quickly give way to changing conditions in the sea. Weather patterns move rapidly across Cape Horn, constantly reshaping the environment.
The albatross is not alone. Other seabirds have also adapted to life at the edge of the world.
Each species uses the winds and sea in different ways to survive.
Ahead, a powerful weather system is approaching, revealing why survival at Cape Horn demands extraordinary resilience. At Cape Horn, weather is one of the most powerful forces shaping life above the sea.
Conditions can change rapidly at the edge of the world. For the albatross, strong winds are not a threat, but an opportunity.
Different seabirds have evolved different strategies for survival at Cape Horn. Experience and adaptation allow these birds to thrive where many animals could not.
The winds of Cape Horn have become an essential part of the albatross's way of life. Across the Southern Ocean, countless birds depend upon the same winds. Even during changing weather, the sea continues to provide opportunities for survival.
The birds are not simply traveling, they are searching for food within the sea. The search for food is about to reveal another crucial survival strategy at the edge of the world. Finding food in the vast Southern Ocean is one of the greatest challenges faced by animals at Cape Horn.
The ability to detect food across immense distances is essential for survival. The birds of Cape Horn use every advantage provided by the sea and wind. Where food becomes concentrated, life quickly gathers. Opportunities within the Southern Ocean are often brief and unpredictable. The vastness of the sea demands constant movement and constant vigilance. Weather and food are inseparable forces shaping life at Cape Horn. The environment is becoming more challenging with every passing hour. The approaching storm will test every animal living in these waters. Ahead, the cliffs of Cape Horn reveal where many of these birds return to begin the next stage of survival. For many seabirds of Cape Horn, survival depends not only on the sea, but also on the safety of the cliffs. These cliffs provide nesting sites above the relentless power of the Southern Ocean. Even here, conditions remain demanding and unpredictable. Every nesting site represents a compromise between safety and exposure. Generations of adaptation allow these birds to thrive in conditions few species could tolerate. The connection between the sea and the cliffs defines life throughout Cape Horn. The changing weather reminds every animal that survival here is never guaranteed. Yet despite every challenge, life continues to flourish at the edge of the world. Cape Horn is both a refuge and a test, shaping every species that calls it home. In Part 2, we follow the masters of the wind into the Southern Ocean and discover how they survive one of the harshest environments on Earth. Few animals are better adapted to the winds of Cape Horn than the albatross. The winds that challenge most creatures provide freedom to the masters of the air. By exploiting invisible wind gradients above the sea, the albatross conserves enormous amounts of energy. This remarkable flight technique allows the bird to travel vast distances across the Southern Ocean. Across Cape Horn, countless seabirds depend upon the same atmospheric forces. The Southern Ocean provides both opportunity and risk for every bird. Success depends on reading the constantly changing conditions of the sea and sky. Every movement reflects years of adaptation to life at the edge of the world. Other seabirds have evolved different strategies for mastering the same environment. The next challenge for these birds is finding food across one of the largest oceans on Earth. Finding food in the vast Southern Ocean requires exceptional skill and endurance. The birds of Cape Horn must constantly search enormous distances to locate feeding opportunities. Different species use different techniques to exploit the resources of the sea.
When food becomes available, seabirds quickly respond.
The productivity of the Southern Ocean supports an extraordinary variety of wildlife.
The relationship between wind, currents, and food shapes life around Cape Horn.
Even productive waters are separated by immense distances.
For many seabirds, travel itself is part of survival.
The ability to endure long journeys is one of the defining traits of life at Cape Horn.
Eventually, even the masters of the wind must return to land, where a new chapter of survival awaits.
After days above the Southern Ocean, the albatross finally approaches its nesting grounds.
The cliffs of Cape Horn provide critical nesting sites for many seabirds.
Reaching the colony is only one part of the challenge.
Every nesting location must withstand the extreme conditions of Cape Horn.
Strong winds that aid flight also create constant challenges on land.
The breeding season demands enormous commitment and endurance.
Successful reproduction is essential for maintaining populations in such a demanding environment. The scale of these colonies reflects the importance of Cape Horn within the Southern Ocean ecosystem.
Life here is defined by an endless connection between land and sea. Soon, the next generation will begin its journey at the edge of the world. The future of every colony depends upon successful breeding in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Nest sites must withstand months of exposure to wind, rain, and changing weather. The colonies of Cape Horn are shaped by generations of adaptation. Patience and endurance are essential qualities for life at Cape Horn. Each nesting site represents a significant investment in the future. Adult birds must constantly balance feeding and nesting responsibilities. Long journeys across the Southern Ocean remain a necessary part of survival. The ability to exploit wind is what makes these journeys possible. Few environments demand such extraordinary mobility from the animals that live there. Soon, the next stage of life at Cape Horn will begin. The breeding colonies of Cape Horn represent the culmination of countless journeys across the Southern Ocean. Success here depends on resilience as much as skill.
Generations of adaptation have prepared these birds for one of the most demanding environments on Earth.
The future generation is already beginning to take shape. Every nesting site carries the hope of survival in a challenging world. The connection between land and sea remains the foundation of life at Cape Horn. The masters of the wind have transformed one of the harshest environments into a place where life can flourish. Yet the story of survival at Cape Horn extends far beyond the birds themselves.
Soon, a new generation will face the same challenges that shaped every generation before it.
In Part 3, life begins on the cliffs of Cape Horn as the next generation enters a world defined by wind, sea, and survival.
High above the sea, a new chapter of life begins at Cape Horn.
The next generation will face the same challenges that have shaped life here for centuries.
Every nesting site represents a fragile beginning in an unforgiving environment. Survival begins long before a young bird ever takes flight.
Protection and patience are essential during the earliest stages of life. The cliffs of Cape Horn provide one of the safest places available in a landscape dominated by wind and sea.
Moments of calm are valuable opportunities for the colony.
Strong social bonds help sustain life in such a demanding environment.
The rhythm of life continues day after day at Cape Horn. Soon, the next generation will finally emerge into the world of Cape Horn.
The arrival of a new generation marks one of the most important moments in the life of the colony. Young birds begin life entirely dependent upon the protection of their parents.
The first weeks of life are among the most vulnerable. Exposure to the elements remains one of the greatest challenges at Cape Horn. Protection from wind and weather can determine survival. Each family faces the same challenges in a landscape dominated by sea and wind.
Providing food requires constant travel between the colony and the sea. Parents must repeatedly cross vast distances to sustain the next generation. Every journey carries risks, yet these efforts are essential for survival. Soon, changing weather will test the resilience of every family living at Cape Horn. Weather changes quickly at Cape Horn, and every family must be prepared. For young birds, exposure to the elements remains a constant challenge. Parental care becomes especially important during periods of unstable weather. Life at Cape Horn demands resilience from the very beginning. Even during rough conditions, the need to find food never stops. The skills developed over generations allow these birds to navigate extreme conditions. Each passing storm becomes a lesson in survival. Only the most resilient individuals will eventually reach adulthood. The colony functions as a community shaped by shared challenges. After every challenge, life at Cape Horn continues moving forward. With calmer weather returning, the next generation can continue to grow. Growth is gradual, but every day brings young birds closer to independence. The connection between the sea and the colony remains essential. Preparation for flight begins long before the first journey above the sea. Instinct and observation help shape the future behavior of every bird.
The winds of Cape Horn will soon become an ally rather than a threat. Every movement develops the strength required for life beyond the cliffs. The moment of independence is approaching. Soon, the next generation must leave the safety of the colony. Their greatest challenge is about to begin. Every young bird must eventually leave the safety of the colony and face the Southern Ocean alone. The winds that once seemed dangerous will soon become essential for survival. Preparation and instinct now come together. Conditions are ideal for the first journeys into the open world. The transition from dependence to independence defines life at Cape Horn. For the first time, a new generation experiences the freedom of flight. Their future now lies beyond the cliffs of Cape Horn. The skills learned on the cliffs will guide them through the challenges ahead. A new generation now joins the masters of the wind.
In Part 4, the journey leaves the cliffs behind and enters the Southern Ocean, where larger animals face their own struggle for survival at the edge of...
Beyond the nesting cliffs of Cape Horn lies a larger world, dominated by the Southern Ocean.
The open ocean supports some of the largest animals found anywhere on Earth. The productivity of the Southern Ocean attracts an extraordinary concentration of wildlife.
Among the most familiar marine mammals of Cape Horn are the sea lions.
Life at the edge of the world demands constant adaptation, both on land and in the sea.
For sea lions, the ocean provides food, movement, and opportunity.
Rich feeding grounds support a complex network of life. Beneath the surface, another side of the Southern Ocean is revealed.
Every successful hunt contributes to survival in a challenging environment. Yet even the sea lions are not the largest hunters in these waters.
In the cold waters surrounding Cape Horn, larger predators occupy the highest levels of the ecosystem. The behavior of other animals often reveals the arrival of a powerful hunter.
Among the most intelligent predators of the Southern Ocean are the orcas. Cooperation gives these predators a remarkable advantage. The influence of apex predators extends throughout the ecosystem. The open ocean provides space for some of nature's most impressive hunters. Every species plays a role in maintaining ecological balance.
Life in the Southern Ocean is constantly shaped by movement. Even the most powerful predators rarely remain visible for long. Ahead, another giant of the Southern Ocean is about to appear.
The Southern Ocean supports some of the largest animals ever to inhabit the sea.
These distant signs reveal the presence of another ocean giant.
Humpback whales are among the most impressive visitors to the waters surrounding Cape Horn. The productivity of the Southern Ocean provides vital feeding opportunities for these giants. Every migration across the ocean requires enormous energy.
Beneath the surface, the scale of these animals becomes truly apparent. The abundance of the Southern Ocean supports life on an extraordinary scale. The connection between sea, sky, and wildlife defines Cape Horn. Every species depends upon the productivity of these waters. But a greater challenge is approaching, one that will test every animal living at the edge of the world. At Cape Horn, even the largest animals must adapt to rapidly changing conditions. The weather of the Southern Ocean influences every level of the ecosystem. The first signs of a major storm are beginning to appear.
Some species are better prepared than others for the conditions ahead.
Animals throughout Cape Horn are responding to the changing environment. Experience helps animals recognize approaching danger. Predators and prey alike must prepare for the same challenge. The entire ecosystem is connected by the forces of the sea and weather. Soon, one of the defining forces of Cape Horn will arrive. The great storm is coming. The arrival of a major storm transforms every aspect of life at Cape Horn.
Each species responds differently to the growing power of the storm.
Even the giants of the ocean must endure the forces of weather.
Shelter becomes increasingly important as conditions worsen. The weather systems of the Southern Ocean are among the most powerful on Earth. Experience and cooperation help many animals survive difficult conditions. The entire ecosystem now faces the same challenge.
Night approaches as the storm gathers strength. The greatest test of survival is about to begin.
In Part 5, the great storm arrives, and every animal at the edge of the world must fight to endure its power. The storm has arrived. Across Cape Horn, every animal must now endure one of nature's most powerful forces.
The Southern Ocean is capable of generating some of the largest waves on Earth.
For wildlife living at Cape Horn, storms are not rare events, but recurring realities. Among all birds, the albatross is uniquely adapted to survive these conditions. The storm that challenges most animals can still be navigated by the masters of the wind.
Generations of adaptation have prepared these birds for extreme weather. Beneath the surface, marine animals face a different set of challenges.
Experience teaches many animals where to find protection during severe weather.
Even the giants of the ocean must endure the power of the storm.
The storm is still strengthening, and the most difficult hours are yet to come.
As the storm strengthens, survival becomes the only priority.
The Southern Ocean reveals its full power during extreme weather.
The adaptations that support daily life become critical during storms. Mastery of the wind provides an advantage few other animals possess. Finding protection can be as important as strength.
The largest marine mammals rely on experience and endurance to survive storms. Different species respond to the same challenge in different ways. Cooperation increases resilience during difficult conditions.
Every level of the ecosystem is being tested. The storm has not yet reached its peak. Night brings an even greater challenge to the orcas of Cape Horn. The sea becomes increasingly unpredictable as the storm reaches its most dangerous stage. The masters of the wind continue to demonstrate extraordinary resilience.
For many animals, survival depends upon choosing the right place to wait out the storm.
Cape Horn is experiencing the full force of the Southern Ocean.
Experience allows large marine mammals to navigate even the most difficult seas. The ocean remains active even during the height of the storm.
Few places on Earth experience storms with such scale and intensity.
The ability to survive storms has shaped every species living at Cape Horn.
The great storm has reached its peak.
For hours, the animals of Cape Horn have endured the full force of the storm.
Although conditions remain severe, subtle signs of change are beginning to appear. The masters of the wind remain among the most capable survivors of Cape Horn.
Patience is often one of the most effective survival strategies.
The giants of the ocean continue their journey despite the challenging conditions.
The ecosystem remains active, even during the most demanding periods.
The weather system is finally beginning to shift. After the most difficult hours, signs of relief are emerging. The end of the storm is finally approaching. Soon, Cape Horn will reveal the remarkable resilience of the animals that survived. The great storm is finally beginning to release its grip on Cape Horn. Although the sea remains powerful, the worst conditions have passed. The masters of the wind emerge once again as symbols of resilience.
Animals throughout Cape Horn begin returning to their normal routines.
The giants of the ocean have endured another test of survival.
Life continues because adaptation has prepared these animals for change. Every species has survived the same storm in its own way.
Cape Horn remains one of the most demanding environments on Earth. Survival here is never guaranteed. It must be earned again and again.
In Part 6, we discover how life continues after the storm, revealing why Cape Horn remains one of the...
The storm has passed, but life at Cape Horn continues.
For the animals of Cape Horn, survival is measured not by avoiding hardship, but by enduring it.
The masters of the wind once again take advantage of the forces that define this region. Every journey across the Southern Ocean reflects generations of adaptation. The resilience of Cape Horn's wildlife is built upon experience.
As conditions improve, opportunities for feeding and movement return.
The giants of the ocean continue their ancient journeys.
Each species contributes to the broader story of survival.
Beneath the surface, the foundations of the ecosystem remain active. The edge of the world remains harsh, but life continues to flourish.
After the storm, the interconnected nature of life at Cape Horn becomes more visible than ever. The ability to master the wind remains one of the greatest advantages in this environment.
Every level of the food web contributes to survival. The coastlines of Cape Horn provide important refuges within a demanding landscape.
As conditions improve, wildlife quickly returns to normal activity. Productive waters remain the foundation of the ecosystem. The abundance of life supports species of every size.
Each species occupies a unique role within the larger system.
Even the apex predators contribute to ecological balance. Together, these species create one of the most remarkable wildlife communities on Earth.
The story of Cape Horn is ultimately a story of connection. Wind connects the birds of Cape Horn to the vast Southern Ocean. The productivity of the sea supports every higher level of life. Land and sea remain inseparable throughout Cape Horn.
Migration links distant regions of the Southern Ocean. Predators help shape the balance of life throughout the ecosystem.
Every layer of the environment contributes to the survival of the whole. Cape Horn remains one of the last truly wild regions of the world. As the day begins to fade, the enduring strength of life becomes increasingly clear.
The animals of Cape Horn have endured wind, waves, distance, and storms, yet they continue to thrive.
As the day draws toward its end, the resilience of Cape Horn becomes unmistakable. Every flight across the Southern Ocean reflects generations of adaptation.
The smallest inhabitants remain just as important as the largest.
Life at Cape Horn depends upon countless individual acts of survival. Migration, feeding, and reproduction continue in an endless cycle.
Predators remain an essential part of ecological stability. Together, these animals form a living network of survival.
Cape Horn remains one of the most demanding and rewarding environments on Earth. Another day of survival is drawing to a close. Soon, the story of Cape Horn will return to where it began, the endless sea. As evening settles across Cape Horn, the enduring strength of life remains visible everywhere. The landscape may appear harsh, but it supports an extraordinary abundance of life. The masters of the wind remain among the most iconic survivors of Cape Horn.
Along the coast, survival continues through patience, experience, and adaptation. The giants of the ocean continue journeys that span entire regions of the Southern Ocean. Predators, prey, and the sea itself remain connected through a delicate balance.
Together, they tell the complete story of survival at the edge of the world. Cape Horn remains one of the last great strongholds of untamed nature.
Here, survival is shaped by wind, sea, distance, and time. At the edge of the world, survival is never easy. Yet across the cliffs, the sea, and the endless Southern Ocean, life continues to endure.